welcome to Play With It with Cass Allen. Today we're talking about the dating pool as we have been for the last couple of weeks. The topic today is married and not separated. Again, married and not separated. There's a lot of that going on out here, people who are married and not separated and they're dating for a number of reasons. Sometimes it's the couple that's looking for someone to join their marriage. Sometimes it's just one party, looking for someone to fling with. They're in an open relationship and each one of them can do their thing. Sometimes it's a swing affair. Sometimes one is lying to the other and tipping out. Number of reasons. You could have a side piece. How long it's been going on could play a role. Some people don't mind their mates going out there and doing quickies, but don't want them getting involved in anything serious. Sometimes you have someone with an illness in a relationship and is unable to partake in sexual activities, and the other party is given permission to do such. So married and not separated, means many things. It just doesn't mean I'm married and I'm not separated and I'm an asshole. There could be spousal issues that people are unaware of, where someone's being threatened in a marriage and can't get out and is caged, but, just needs to fulfill some intimacy because so much battering is taking place at home that, they need this type of relief. So as always, I'm keeping this to a half an hour or less, and those are some of the things we're going to try to touch on. We might not get to the whole list, but those are the things that come to mind. If I don't get to it on your own. You people think if you're listening to this on a nonstop basis, then you obviously like thinking about things, or you wouldn't be joining me because that's what the fuck I do. I think about stuff and I just share it with you because I think, that's how we make community, by talking about stuff. That's how we learn each other, by talking about stuff. That's why I say you're welcome to comment. There's no need to get angry, mad, obsessive. I'm not here for that. I hope you're not either. I believe people have the right to their opinion, and they don't have to be the same. That's what makes the soup, but in order to get to know people, I like to know things about them, and a lot of times I don't talk about myself. That's why I've been adding myself to all this shit we talking about. Like I said, the original reason for this is just to have a place for adults to have adult conversation and use adult language without people being all stuck up in their ass, place to vent, talk some shit, talk about some things we think about and don't necessarily share with each other. I've been in the dating pool for a while, as far as the subject. And we're talking about that. Again, married and not separated. So let's get right in there. Obviously, you can be on two ends of the stick here. You can be the married person, or you can be the one dating the married person, right? You can be the adulterer, or you can be the side piece. Not even sure if the word adulterer has any gravity anymore. It may be taken out of the dictionaries because, I know where I live that you can no longer use that as a reason to divorce. It doesn't have the same merit that it used to, where people, they place so much value on the sanctity of marriage, and once you see someone cheat, it's like, oh my God, this motherfucker gonna pay me for life. Doesn't go down that way anymore, I should say. Many people out here, they're both cheating, or they're trying to play each other. They set each other up. I think that's one of the reasons that there is no merit to that anymore, but I digress. We're talking about side pieces, and we become side pieces for a number of reasons, and we take on side pieces for a number of reasons, as I just mentioned, you know. So I don't get into people's business in that way to know what's going on and judge it. I've been in situations myself where I've been married and separated, and been judged harshly. So I can only imagine what someone married and not separated would be judged as by some people. I think it's important if you matter to someone, to find out the details of what's going on before you judge, as I said, because there's so many reasons for why people do what they do. Many of you, at least in my culture, saw Waiting to Exhale. Wesley Snipes laid in that bed, and talked about his character had a wife at home with an illness, and he just needed some intimacy, just somebody to hold for the night, because, that wasn't available for him at home. He didn't cheat on his wife to many, but some people would have called that cheating on his wife, but he had a sweet, innocent need that he needed attended to, and I was all for it. Um, so side piece can mean many things, even though we call it that and make fun of it. Sometimes the side piece has more of a representative role than the person that's married, Sometimes the side piece is getting more. Sometimes the side piece has a nicer car, nicer apartment, You try not to lose the side piece and keep the side piece quiet. The side piece getting more while you're faithful at home, that's secure with what already is existing, gets nothing else, Think about these things as you get into relationships with people, regardless of which side you're on. What type of side piece are you, or what type of side piece are you looking for? Do you have the balls and or the clitoral power to be honest about this situation and say I'm married and I'm not separated, and these are the reasons why? I mean, in some cases, yeah, it's gonna slow it down in scoring. I've seen it with my own eyes. People have said it. I'm married, I got a wife, I just want some pussy on the side. It works sometimes, sometimes it doesn't. Shoot your shot if it's your truth, you know. Um, People are married and not separated. Sometimes the gravity of their situation, the length, I should say, plays a role in situations you might end up with them. Somebody just got married 3 months ago and wants you to be their side piece. I don't know. I think it's easier to get a side piece when you say, I've been with her 40 years and we got 20 kids together and blah, 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 and we hate each other, so we do our own thing. Than it is to go to somebody and say, I just got married to my mate 3 months ago, but I'm looking to fool around. I don't know. I think I would give it up to the second person first. Y'all tell me how y'all feel if y'all got the courage to mention that, even if, you were in a situation like that. I mean, on a real tip, I don't like to fuck with people in situations. In my youth, I was adamant about that until I became that situation, you know. So not sure, honestly, how I would feel about that situation. Someone who just got married and wants to lay up with me would make me a little more concerned, I think. I've been approached by women who've been married and not separated, especially women who are married to money. A lot of them have wanted to play secret games. And I missed out on that life. At one point I was like, damn, maybe I should have done that shit. But I said, nah, I'm playing with niggas with money. They might fuck me up, do that thing, I can always refer to something. R. Kelly got fucked up in the fucking video with what's his name from the Isley Brothers, Mr. Big, fucking around with a chick. It's like, nigga, I got money. We gonna fuck you up. I didn't want, any more casualties that I've faced in my life as far as my physical body. So I veered away from, doing stuff like that, becoming a side piece for people. And I've never asked anybody to be a side piece, even though I have, been married and dated. I've always been upfront about it. This is my situation. We ain't got to do nothing. And, it's up to you at that point to decide how you want to vibe with me. How long does play a role, and how long you've been in something, whether or not you should decide you even want to get mixed up in something with somebody like that. Or you're the person trying to mix people up in your stuff in such a young relationship where you don't even know your mate. So now you asking a stranger to get involved in some shit and anticipate some of the bullshit that your mate might do and that might possibly put them in a fucked up situation at a later date. Excuse me for that. I think we need to really think about these things before we put people in situations. Some of you like to have people you date, and then your mate find out, and your mate is waging war. Is it fair to put people in situations like that, especially when you're lying about it? Let's talk about that. Married and not separated and lying about it. You pulling off your rings, you going to these places, you doing this risky shit to get monkey ass, and then you got wild thing at home, male or female, that finds out about your escapades, and all of a sudden you have a third party on the run, like in many of these Lifetime movies and fucking Tubi movies. To be alive or not is what I be thinking when I watch some of them. To be stupid or not, to be safe or not, all kinds of shit like that. Because, it'd be somebody who wasn't paying the fuck attention, who wanted to play with somebody they shouldn't have played with, and decided it would be fun, while a third party was like, oh, fucking no, we are not doing this. It's time to switch this to some Freddy Krueger shit. You got to be real careful when you fuck with people. It's not just about knowing the person that you fucking with that's married. Maybe you need to learn a little bit about this mate. Does this person also have an active cheating life? Or is this person loyal? Is this person a religious fanatic? You need to know if you got a religious fanatic on your hands, because they will hunt you down and do some shit to you. You'll be alive and dead at the same time while they're killing you. Got your whole fucking body open with a damn Bible laying up on your knees. Got your knees propped up with the Bible with a cord wrapped around it to your knees. Praying to you while they on the phone with the person that they married to, telling them how much they love them, but they fucking you up because you the one that wanted to be the side piece. They like, bitch, you a side piece now for real. You a side order, bitch. I'm about to burn you. You understand me? Don't think because this motherfucker got money that he don't possibly have some crazy, ruthless, free spirit bitch at home that will kill you. Normally, when a people with a lot of power got somebody at home, that person's a match. They can handle that powerful person, so they can probably handle you too if this powerful person impresses you. People don't think about that. What lies behind the bedroom door? It's a wife, motherfucker. A wife of a wealthy man who can hire anybody she wants to do anything to you. It's not just about who you're dating. You got to think about their issues, the spousal issues that are taking place in this person's life, as I just explained. Did this person cheat on this person 14 times already? Interview these people. If you're going to cheat with somebody who cheats, at least interview these married people that are not separated. Ask them these questions. Am I your first side piece? If not, which one? When's the last time you had a side piece? What's the average amount of time your side pieces last? Does your mate usually find out about them? What type of reactions do your mate have when they find out? Do you supply a stipend to us to risk our lives? That's the shit you need to be talking about. What kind of issues do you have at home? So you learn a little bit more about the mate. How does your mate feel about this? That's what you want to know. How does your mate feel about you being out all night? Do they give a fuck? Okay, your mate's out too. Okay, I might be a little safe. Unless your mate out too looking for us, which is a possibility. That's why you gotta pay the fuck attention. Especially in the beginning. You can't be like, all comfortable, like, oh my God, this person got money. My life is about to change. And you're going to lay back and open up all free and shit and close your eyes, all happy and shit, like, oh, this is it. I don't care if this nigga married. Guess what? You should care. You should carry mace. You should look to your left and your right at all times for at least 6 months, at least, probably more, because women will wait for your ass. Men too, they will wait to chop you the fuck up when they're good goddamn pleased. They're like, I'm done with you. I'm about to say that prayer to God on you and thank God for delivering you to me. They're going to use God as a weapon as they take you down, especially if you cheated with their mate. God delivered you to me so that I could burn you and make you pay for your sins if it's a religious fanatic. I stress this shit. I've been lied to by married women that be like, ain't nothing going on in my relationship. And I find out they got everything a person could want, you would think. Like, that's the way I learned my lesson in my youth. The first time that happened to me, dating a married woman who I thought was beautiful, and I was young. She was older than me. She had money. She had power. Yo, I'm like 20 something. We'll just say 20-ish. I was like, what the fuck? She can teach me things. She said she wasn't happy. I'm married and I'm not separated. And I was like, yo, that's what's up. This kind of sexy. She being honest. You know, my mate don't want me, she told me. We don't do nothing. We just together for the kids. Fuck it. I'm making moves. She making moves. We doing public things too. I'm like, oh shit. She's starting it too. She doing public shit. So she must not be having no serious shit going on at home. Yo, you really want me. Whoa, I might be the next motherfucker. Doom, doom, doo, doom, doom, doo. But guess what I find out? See, I was young. I did some babysitting for this couple. This her and her mate. And as I sat and prepared for them to leave, I watched. And the story was told, it wasn't true. So I had to learn the hard way that, married and not separated with honesty isn't always honesty. If you're lucky enough, you know, ask the right questions or get yourself in a situation where you can spook the couple and see how they engage. I found out this couple was very active sexually, you know, and one was very in love with the other. And at that time, at very early years, I wrote a letter. There was no texting. There were no smartphones. And I told her, I can't fuck with this. I'm not going to disrespect your mate like that. It wasn't even about her, because she had already disrespected her mate, and put me in a situation where it might appear, you know. So you got to be careful as you look at these situations and, you know, you decide whether or not you want to trust somebody. Do you want to trust them on their word, or do you want to try to go out here and secure some real proof? Don't I tell people anyway, when you want to learn something, get you three sources. Don't just go with one expert. Listen to three. They might disagree. Then what? Where are you then? The same way information about people. Try to get at least three sources if you can. Reputable ones. Find out things from the sources, the mate, if you can, if you are so lucky, or one of the friends, or you pay attention to how this person is on the phone with their mate. They're telling you this thing, but are they whispering all these loving things to this person? You know if it's real, because if it's real, they're talking all loud and shit. They're like, look, babe, see, I don't love this bitch. How you know I told you the truth? You know you my number one, even though we ain't married. They'd be like, yeah, I don't want shit from you on the phone. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I see you when the fuck I see you. Yeah, whatever, you cheating bitch. And they hang up and they come to you. You be like, oh, my baby. But if they on that phone like, yo, I'll be back in a minute, Aggie on the phone. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna be home soon. Yeah, I love you. I'll be right there. Yeah. Nah, I was talking low because my kids sleep. You just checking on it. Now I'm talking to this guy. When that kind of shit starts going on from people being unfaithful and lie, that's why I always start my segments with, be honest. Let people know what you willing to do for monkey ass. Let them know who you are as you're pursuing that monkey ass. Show them your ass. You be like, look at this. Let me tell you something about this. This monkey ass right here, it's married and it ain't separated. You see? Perfect example. They didn't separate it. I got somebody that takes good care of me, pays all my bills, my medical insurance, got me set up for when this motherfucker die. Everything is good here. It's good to me, but sometimes I just crave a little something on the side. I'm safe. I will show you my papers. Or am I wrong? There are people out there who will accept your situation. It's your situation. And while they're accepting your situation, you got to think about their situation. Okay, I'm married. And I'm telling my truth. Just told this person, guess what? I'm married. I'm not getting out of my situation, but I want to have fun. And they say, yeah, don't get excited. Don't fucking be like, yeah, I'm the king, I'm the queen, or whatever the fuck you call yourself slaying. You might just be the fool that everybody's taking advantage of because they know that you cheat on your man all the time. And you got this money that you'll spend on all of them and set them up with apartments. Just suck his dick for 11 minutes on Wednesday nights. He'll be at the Mexican Fiesta Cafe for his regular martini. People talk about you too, so be careful how you moving out there unless you don't give a fuck and that's what you want to do, get the word out. Because I mean, come on, for real. That's a good way to spread the word if that's what you into. But if you not and you got somebody at home and you married and you not separated and you don't want this person at home to know your business, I would suggest you think about how you moving with other people's situations because some people don't give a fuck about your situation. They'll play you like a motherfucker. They'll say everything you want to hear. They be like, nah, I got your back. I'll be your side piece. Nah, you ain't got no worries. I understand your spousal issues. You can trust me. I understand your situation. I see how long you've been suffering, and I'm here to rescue you. You sink into that shit. Next thing you find out, other people's situations ain't the same as yours. Say like, ah, got cameras all over the motherfucker. Got you. I ain't gotta go into the details. We're adults here. I'm not talking to 12-year-olds who need to be scared into, understanding the gravity. Y'all should know better by now. You got to be careful. Even when you're dating and you're going into situations with people, sometimes they might have cameras on you and sound pieces. Sometimes people that are married in other situations, their mates are out here actively hunting them down, as we see on these TV shows like cheaters. you know they know they looking for proof. So you got to consider if you want to be a part of a scandal like that. Do your ass want to be on TV with 11 cameras chasing you down the street, asking you, did you know that Tommy was not single? Did you know that Tommy was married and not separated? They don't ask you the same question. Do you know you the side piece? Do you know how long Tony's been married? He's been married 11 years. Why are you cheating with him when you know he's married? Didn't you know they have spousal issues? You actually trust this nigga when you know he's cheating on his wife? That's the same list we just went over. You know, you got to pay attention when you out here in these situations that you think are cute, even if you just out here calling yourself playing people. I don't give a shit if that nigga's married. All I want is XYZ. All I want is to get in the club. All I want is money. All I want is to go to college. Whatever the fuck you want. You still might have to pay a price. So while you out here playing and having fun or whatever you doing, for how long you doing, why you doing it, whether you the side piece or you looking for the side piece, think about the opportunities and the risks. If this doesn't work out, what's going to happen? If my mate finds out, what's going to happen? Is this something I've been honest about? Has my mate ever said these words to me? If I ever catch you cheating on me, I will kill you. But you've never been caught. Is that your life? Are you getting sloppy at it? Is the person you're dating getting sloppy? Are you dating someone where you got to duck at any time because somebody's coming by? Y'all sitting there enjoying dinner, you about to put some food in your mouth, and he snatch your face and turn it to the left and push it into the wall. Cause his friend coming by, he like, don't move while he got your nose smushed in, and he trying to pull your hair forward over your face. Meanwhile, he got his head bent too over yours, like y'all almost hugging. But it looks more like he trying to hold your nose so you can shoot a booger or something out of it. Like you know how people get food caught in their throat? You look like you got something stuck in your nose. Like, is that the life you want? Do you want to be with somebody where they're married and not separated and everybody knows your name? Some people don't mind that. I remember there was a country not too far from here where a man in a regal position had a woman on the side for a long time who became his wife. Y'all already know I'm not telling names, and I'm sure I don't have to because it's public information. It wouldn't matter if I did, but that's just my thing. Names, no stories, stories, no names, you know. So it's not like it's even taboo anymore, you know. People let you know. Like, they'd be both married and in their fourth relationship with someone else waiting for the divorce. That never happens. So they really are married and not separated because neither one pursues it. They end up married, but not really together, but still living in the same house. So, like, what is that situation? You know, like I said, I think it's important to just be honest about what's going on. I've met people that have been married and not separated for all the reasons I've listed and more. You know, I know couples that are married and not separated because of their children. They want to stay as an active co-parenting couple, living in the same house, functioning as a couple, doing everything with the kids together, but they're not having sex. They're having sex with other people and they're happy. So, you know, like I always say, you know, to each his own. I just think you need to be honest because that's a thick layer right there, you know. Why not instead of cheating, just make them all sister wives, you know? Everybody knows each other's name. You know, I think that's the best way to do that shit. And get them each other's numbers and shit so they can all go for a STD test on the same day and get their nails done if these are women. Why not make this into, you got community dick, so why not let your women come together as a community and support their asses? Shit, let the have the money to have for all of them to go get their fucking nails and feet done and their lashes. I don't see the problem with that. You want pussy from all of them. Exchange numbers so they can hook up and get a group discount. You know how much money they would save if your ass would save if you all let them all meet each other and go to places together? Do you understand the value of this if you could just be honest? Maybe they wouldn't have five cars. Maybe they'd have three that they could share. Maybe two of them don't really need full-time cars. But if you be honest, like, hey, we all in the same community. We got things in common. And girls, you know, I like the same type of woman. Tell them the truth. All y'all are very similar. You're all the same height. You all got a weave. You all spicy. You all got good jobs. All of that shit. Because y'all all take care of me. Keep your shit real. So imagine if y'all all combined your incomes. Y'all be making like $2 million between you. You know how big a house y'all could get and just all live together? There's some real potential here, to be honest. Now they got more money, and guess whose ass can be taken care of more if that's your flavor and you serving out that kind of satisfaction to all of them. Why shouldn't you get a raise? If you come up with an idea to save all this money in the family, you feel me? Isn't that a beautiful example of what being honest and married and not separated situations is. You know, I got this wife at home I'm never gonna leave because she won't let me. Tell him the truth. She won't. She said if I leave her, she gonna take half my money, and I don't want to let it go. But instead of letting go half, how about I just spend a quarter on you, and you become my side piece? You make a quarter, and I gain a quarter, and I still get a quarter of what I'm giving my wife. So I come out with half, you come out with a quarter, she comes out with a quarter, and you got two pussies. Instead of giving half to somebody to have no pussy and then got to use that half to pay for more pussy, which going to leave you with a quarter again because you got to give her half of your half. And I know y'all are paying attention who know math. It's not that hard. So to wrap this up, y'all, enjoy yourselves out there. Be good to each other. Don't hurt nobody. This has been Play With It, WIT, with Cass Allen.